What's going on, everybody, and welcome back into Barlow Studios. So this is something a little bit different here on my YouTube channel. So there's been a lot of discussion now in the present and in the past that TikTok may get banned in the United States. Now, I have been a big user of TikTok. I've really started posting my artwork on social media through TikTok. I just don't feel like Instagram has the same sway and the same speed as far as growth that TikTok had. And I just feel like Facebook is just so outdated and clunky, and it's just messy, and it's hard to use it. The pages that you can create, the groups, everything is just so clunky and just old, outdated. I just really never really got into it. Now I do have a page on Facebook for Barley Studios, and it's linked to my main account, but I've just really never big into it. I've been leaning more so into YouTube here recently. Now, don't get me wrong, I love TikTok and all, but if it went away tomorrow, I wouldn't be upset about it because I am putting more long form content from my art into YouTube. But I don't necessarily want to lose all that data. I've put a lot of content onto TikTok, about 3 years worth. So what I want to do is I want to start to archive some of that data. Now, I don't want those videos just sitting around on my phones all the time where I could be recording new content in 4K or 3K and have that data available on my storage device. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to archive them down. So I'm going to do 2022, 2023, and then I'll do 2024 up till when maybe TikTok gets banned, if it does, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to archive them down, and then what I'll do is I will consolidate them down into videos to post to YouTube. Now, there's some stipulations with this. I would like to call this coffee time. Coffee time. So I may have different coffee mugs, and we'll just be doing a relaxed commentary over that. So it'll allow me to kind of go back through my old short videos and review those TikTok videos and kind of explain the art that came through the channel at the time, and where I've came along since then and so forth like that. Now, I will not be including any kind of reposts in that, so only original posts. And I also did Sunday shoutouts for a while for other artists throughout TikTok world. I did probably maybe about 15 to 25 of those, and then I kind of slowed down because it wasn't getting really the traction that I was looking for through the TikTok community. Don't get me wrong, I grew on TikTok, but it just wasn't the thing that I really wanted to be known for. It's just that guy who gave shout outs, right? It was fun for a while. It got to meet a few really cool artists as well as interview them through like a kind of like a text chat format, not live interviewing. But it was really fun, and I'm not going to include those in here because I don't want to continuously have to go back and tag people. Now, as I run through artwork that people have purchased from me that I really do follow a lot on YouTube and TikTok, I will mention their tags. And in those videos, I will do my best to tag them below so you can jump over to their YouTube channels. There's a few of them, but there's only one that really stands out, and he'll come along here in a little while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to include this in every intro to all of these videos. These videos are going to range from 20 to 30 minutes depending on the amount of content that I have, and they will be categorized under a new playlist, which will be kind of called Coffee Time. And if I want to include any kind of other commentary type art review videos into my channel, they will be included in this playlist called Coffee Time. But we're going to start off by just kind of archiving all those old videos. All right, so I'm going to include this at the beginning of every one of these videos, and then we're just going to jump into it. So my coffee cup, my shirt may change. Now, here's the disclaimer. I will do a little bit of the music in the TikTok videos that I have. However, just be aware that I'm not going to include very much of it. We're going to include more of a voice and music overlay so that way I don't get a copyright strike on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is where I'm at, you guys, and I want people to follow me from TikTok over to YouTube. Sometimes it's hard to get people to go across platforms, but I hope you do enjoy the content. Now, if you want to see my full-length content like tutorials and project videos, and whether it's watercolors, acrylics, tumblers, miniatures, colored pencils, anything that you want to see that comes out of my art studio. I'm not just one type of artist. I don't have one niche, right? I'm all these things, including some digital art once in a while. You can follow me on TikTok as well as subscribe here on YouTube. Subscribe here on YouTube, guys. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see my newest videos. Sometimes it jumps around depending on what project I'm working on, but that just is the fun of art, right? Don't restrict yourself to one type of art. Really have fun with your journey. And this is my art journey here on my YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the content for the video that you clicked on here. And let's just go ahead and get into this voice comment. All right, guys, so let's kick off this video here and let's get into some commentary. Action. So this is one of the yellow radioactive barrel tumblers. I have a few TikToks because I made this tumbler so many times for different people throughout my Etsy career here. And this is just really fun epoxy work, mixing the epoxy, part A, part B, and then putting in, whether it's mica powder or glow paints or whatever you want to put into it, alcohol inks, and you get to create really awesome combinations. And this is just creating that radioactive ooze that drips down the outside of the tumbler. It's pretty cool, you guys. It's a really fun process, and I really do enjoy making them to sell. I don't get as many sales as I used to back in the day just because the Etsy algorithms has changed so much, and there's so many resellers on Etsy that it almost ruins it. But those that do order this, I'm really glad that I'm able to put out a great piece of product for them. There it is with its yellow backing there, and it's got that's the one with the black band on the middle. Really phenomenal product here. I don't even have one in my studio right now because I sell them so fast. This you may have seen in one of the previous commentary videos. This is the actual glow in the dark drip tumbler that me and my daughter made, and we use like a syringe, and we use so many different types of glow in the dark paints, and those were all from Folk Art. It was really messy and very thick. This is the same thing but a different angle on the same cup. So sometimes I'll do like a double post with the same content in a way. That way I can kind of get both the traction, double traction into the world, as it were, or the socials, wherever that may be being posted on TikTok or Instagram. This right here was actually kind of a St. Patrick's Day cup. It was a creation for an Etsy customer, and since then I have made another one. It's up there on my shelf, so if anybody's ever interested in one of these, just let me know. I can always add a decal to it. For those of you who don't know, I am not drinking coffee today, so although it is called coffee time, I'm actually drinking some Dr. Pepper. Awesome. Love Dr. Pepper. Using my Daddy Shark cup. Now this is the entire process, and this is just a straight up swirl tumbler. It doesn't have any type of glitter on it whatsoever. So it's just very straightforward, very easy. Hit it and be done. Yeah, that thing turned out absolutely incredible. Spectacular. Look at the green and the yellows kind of swirling together. It looked really cool. This right here is, again, the alien egg tumbler. This thing is absolutely baller, and I still get great comments on either Instagram or TikTok to this day. And it's sitting over there beside my palette in my easel right now. But it is definitely amazing, and one day it'll get sold. I know it will. And then somebody else will have that trophy on their shelf, and I'll have to make something else just as equally awesome to put up there. But this is me just showcasing it before it's epoxied. Even before the yellow ochre epoxy drip that comes to the top, and I'm just kind of talking about how I had rolled the clay over, because all that is clay, and it was a one-time bake. So all that clay is created and textured, and then it's rolled over, then textured again with that outer, like, inner lip type of texture, like little dimpling texture. And then the amount of paints that we put on it, or I put on it, it intensifies the overall theme of it. These look really like inner lining, inner skin type of thing. Like that skin is being pulled back, and it was really cool. I could have made that more of like an earthy color, but the red it spoke to me. And that's where I went to it. And I'm also just showcasing like the little trypophobia holes and the barnacles and the ribbing down the sides. A little bit of a white shark tooth type of thing that comes down from each three of the corners, because there's only 3 lips, so you have 3 corners. But it turned out absolutely spectacular. I'm so proud of it. It was really cool, and I kind of kept the overall same color theme throughout the entire project. So I kind of kept the overall outside of it kind of earthy tones. I wanted to imagine if it was like being stumbled across in like the woods. Maybe the alien egg had been deposited in the woods from a ship or something, and you were just walking across it, and the egg is like just happens to be opening. And then, of course, later on in the project, you see that the topper is created, sculpted, painted, and epoxied so that it blends well with the actual base. It's really cool. This is one of the longer TikToks that I had made in previous videos. I remember mentioning that I had opened up 10-minute videos. This was probably about 5 or 6 minutes easily. just talking about what I've done to this bad boy, and the amount of work that I put into it to create this art level of artistry. Like even to this point right here, like the video just keeps on going, and I'm just ecstatic with how it turns out. I don't really want to edit it out too much, but it is a very long video. Even looking at the scrolling on the bottom, it's just it continuously keeps on going, and I have a few more that pop up for the same project, and I'm doing different things. So for instance, here I am attaching the armature wires, the legs. I created each leg individually with its own armature aperture, and I went ahead and used E6000 to glue those into position, and they're sculpted specifically to attach in a certain way. So you have to put them in the right order. Now this is before it's epoxy dripped, oozed over. Once that is done, it truly just locks it into place. But if there's anywhere that drip really didn't kind of encapsulate, then that wouldn't show up there. It looked absolutely spectacular. I'm really happy with how it turned out overall. And it's my baby. It was my baby. It was my first 100% 3D sculpted cup, and I've never really drank from it. I think I may have drank from it once, but maybe some water or something for like showcasing it. Maybe one day I'll do like a showcase of me drinking some like yellow like juice or something out of it, like like ectoplasmic drip that I'm eating. So you can see it's just a kind of just a detailed little thing there, just applying the legs one at a time. And then here shortly, we'll also apply that tail that comes out of the breakaway part right there. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab it for you guys. So here it is right here. So as you can see, we're attaching those arms there. And then we're attaching that leg, that tail now that breaks away from the inside of the egg. And it's like a scorpion-like tail. It's just really cool. And then you have the actual like alien coming out of the top. And of course, all of that is removable. So it's just like an open top right there. It's really cool, but it's more of a showcase and a trophy piece. Here's me actually creating that epoxy drip where it comes down the sides. And that's before I made the topper. So the topper's made afterwards. Now, I don't know what order these videos are coming up in. So sometimes they could be like a repost maybe. So depending on the situation, depends on whether or not they're like new content where I'm posting them all in a row, like in a bundle. It all depends, and I can't really remember, but I'm going to try not to post the same videos twice in these series if I can get away with it. But if the same video does appear twice, then you know why. I was just really glad that I was able to get this portion of the project in some way on video format. I did record this for YouTube as well. It's been a long time since I've gone back that far in my YouTube channel and reviewed that video. I don't know what kind of quality that video is in because it was an older video and I was new to YouTube. Maybe I'll have to go back and review that type of video and see what all was entailed in that project. Whether it was a 4K or not, I cannot remember, but it was definitely one of my babies, and I'm really proud of how it turned out. Maybe I'll make another one here sometime soon, like a dragon egg or some kind of other alien maybe. We'll see how it turns out. Moving away from the alien egg here finally. I know you're ready to get away from that. But we'll be back to it in a little while. This is a cup that I had made for my daughter. And it was more so, it was going to kind of be like a pink cup, but the pink glitter really just got washed out by the blues that I applied. But it kept some of its sparkle. And this is the entire process of me creating this blue cup. It is, I can't remember what decal it has on it. I believe it has, I can't remember, you guys. It has some kind of decal on it, and it's sitting around somewhere. I don't remember. But it turned out absolutely spectacular as well. Here's just a showcase of slow movement here. And it looks amazing. You see a little glitter, a little bit of that glitter shine underneath the epoxy and the alcohol ink layers. It was just stunningly beautiful. Now I'll make a few more swirls here coming up in some of my YouTube videos. I know I have a Barbie tumbler scheduled to be made, and I might be making another one for with my kids for my wife's Mother's Day. This right here is me creating the actual alien that goes on top of the alien egg. And this is a time lapse of me sculpting this. You'll be able to see this on my YouTube channel in a full landscape view. So just be aware, you can always go back and watch that video, and you can change the time progression in YouTube settings, so you can watch it on time lapse if you'd like. I don't remember how fast I'm moving in that video. It may be 6x speed, I'm not quite sure. But I'm just blending in the legs, blending in the kind of like the arch of the upper alien's back, kind of sculpting in a little bit of the head. And then as I kind of round out some of the details, because I didn't plan any of these alien pieces, I just went with the flow and I just sculpted from the whim, and then just had fun with it. Here's me creating those eye ports, where you can actually see eyes with glistening effect. So I did highlight those in like a white as well as a metallic color, so they really do shine when you're looking across the room at it. Like I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like it's physically looking at me and about to jump on my freaking face. Like, it's really cool. It's not scary, but it's really cool. I would love to make some horror stuff later on down the road, and put that under my haunts and a haunted house and horror type of playlist that I have on my YouTube channel. But I haven't been able to get around to that recently. I have a lot more bigger projects planned for that playlist, and just financially, I'm not selling enough right now to finance that project list. So eventually, as I build out these other project playlists and I create more things in this inside studio, hopefully I'll be able to create some of those larger form projects in the outdoor studio. That will be much more stinky stuff, like heavier epoxies, heavier silicones, and things like that. And I just don't want that heavy stuff inside the house around my kids and around the pets and things. So if you're looking for some of those horror themed things, those will be coming out eventually. It's just I'm not there yet, guys. So you may see some like foam projects and things like that come out, but some of those heavier projects, I've got a list I've been creating, and I'm really looking forward to one day building those out. Here I am creating like the little pincer fangs. Those were kind of really put into the epoxy drip when it's all said and done. So I did cover it up, and I do have to come back to it, do a little bit more detail work, but I do go ahead and bake it on that stainless steel pint cup. I still have that pint cup to this day, even 2 years later, and it still serves its purpose. And this is a TikTok video of the sound. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. And like I'm already like filling my shelves up with just stuff. And it continues to grow. Like I'm still in this, me and my wife share this crafting space, and it's just stuff. Oh, this is a thank you to my 1,000 followers on TikTok. I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. So we'll skip to the next piece. So we'll jump to the next one. Ooh, this is a beautiful cup, and I haven't sold it yet. If somebody wants this, it is called Coffee in My Creamer. I used to drink a lot of creamer in my coffee, and I don't so much anymore, just in reducing sugar intake. But this cup was designed to look extremely glittery, but have coffee color and tone. Excuse me. And this is me actually creating that project. I had a brown glitter on it, a few lighter color glitters, a rust, like a copper colored glitter, and it was phenomenal, you guys. There's another artist, Crazy Hazy Cups. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he makes a lot of epoxy swirls, and the claim is that he kind of started the revolution, and if he did, that's awesome. I don't know. There's no telling who comes up with some of this stuff, but he's a really great guy. So and he's a really great artist. So this is he inspired me to create a line of epoxy like swirl cups, and I don't really call them swirl cups or Crazy Hazy Cups or anything like that. I call them Alchemist Collection, because I will make a swirl a particular way one time, and then if you may order it, it'll be similar, but it could be so much different the next time. I may use the same colors completely, but the swirls could be so different, and people have to understand that, and it's just a really fun process. I really do enjoy making these live, so if somebody wants to order one and have it created live, just let me know. I've also been playing with the idea of having kids paint these at birthday parties and then me epoxy them after the fact. So I'm also kind of experimenting with that. So maybe that'll come out here soon. I'll be doing that. We'll see. It looks stunning. It's over here, guys. I haven't really sold it, and I do have it discounted. All right, Alchemist Collection, another swirl glitter cup, Oceans Spectrum. That was before I even applied any of the things that come later in this project. My wife, of course, my lovely wife, requests art sometimes, and I get distracted. I have ADHD. I get distracted by other projects. I have a shelf of shame. Don't act like I don't. And this is me creating a underwater ocean reef cup for my wife. This is the first stage of it, creating this beautiful, beautiful color here. You can see right here how gorgeous this is. It is beautiful. Now, it did have a yellow tone at the top, and then it got darker as you get down to the bottom. It has those heavy, chunky glitters, a little bit of the white you see through there because I didn't give it full coverage. This thing is stunning, stunning, beautiful. And it turned out absolutely spectacular. It was beyond my expectation, and the whole goal was that it looked like it was like you were like under the water looking through up to the sky in the sun, and you saw those light rays coming through, but you look down this dark ocean bottom abyss, and that's why it got lighter to darker. It'll come back in here in a little while in another video or this one, and you'll see where I took it from there. Again, just remember it's a reef cup. Here is me a time lapse painting the alien egg, that alien that goes on top of the alien egg sculpture. Now this is again a very fun process. I did a lot of dry brushing, and then we come in later with a very controlled epoxy drip. But before I do that epoxy drip, I do paint the outside edges of that already base coated brown where the epoxy is supposed to go, with a heavy yellow ochre layer, and I let that dry fully before I apply the epoxy. That way, if there is any visible like clearness in the epoxy, you still see the yellow ochre shining through, because that yellow ochre needs to have the same consistency as the outside edges, so that it makes it look like the epoxy is coming up with the alien, seeping over the edges of the egg. So it needs to make sure that it has that layers to so that the eye can pick up on them, if it makes sense. Here's that dry brushing technique. I really didn't know where I was going with the alien. I just knew that I wanted to paint it in the same overall theme that I painted the legs in. And that required me to have a little bit of a mossy oak and a pale olive, a dry brushing, and then I went ahead and, of course, detail painted some more of that yellow ochre drip around some of those ridges and those ports off the top of the alien. Maybe it needs to keep itself wet by mucus or like an excretion or something. Here's me applying the epoxy to the outside edges of that. It's a very messy process, very fun though. And I don't remember how much I mixed. I think I mixed 30 milliliters, but I didn't really need that much. And you do have to babysit it a little bit. So you have to wait for it to set up for a while. Then you can apply it, and then you can wait for it to set up fully before you can just say, I'm done for the night, I'm going to bed. You do have to do a little bit of cleanup work as well, like a little bit of rotary tool. And then when you epoxy the final layer with a clear coat, it locks all into position. My daughter's on the other room, and she said, Dad, what you doing? Very cool. All right, so this is the very first gnome that I had created. It's right here, and it is a Grim Reaper gnome. And of course, me being me, I created like a base with like stalactites coming up from the bottom out of like UV resin that I had cured with inks, and it has like skull beads in its beard, and it has like a little soul that it's holding, and the soul kind of goes around the back side of the gnome, and it's like, oh, help me. But he's also holding like a hand sculpted scythe that has like wood texture and skulls that are like painted into the edging. It has like wrappings around like the skull wood part, and then where it goes into like a blade, like a bone blade or something. It also has a topper that goes on top of it, and it has a large like skull bead up there that kind of blends with the beads on his beard. And it really turned out spectacular. I did sculpt that on TikTok live, and it was very fun to do so. Let me know, you guys, are y'all interested in seeing more live videos? I think I'm gonna have to get a lot more traction on some of my other socials before I really start to do like heavy hardcore live content. If I start to make money being monetized, then live content will become a normal thing on this channel. But it needs to start to show sustainable growth before I really put it that much detail and time into the studio. So because I'll be doing live, plus I'll be recording to make long form YouTube content. So you got to find that perfect medium, right? I'm enjoying making content and making each video as good as I can every time now. So every time I make a video, I'll make it as good as I can. And I'll go on to the next one here. Here it is in all its glory. There is the sculpted tumbler there. And now it's not completely baked yet. I'm just working some of those details out. You can see it has like a cloak that goes around his whole body. And the only part that's visible of him is his nose. He's even got little mittens on his hand. All right, so here is a beautiful Alchemist Collection swirl that I had made for a customer. It was labeled AU Gold Mines. And I can't remember what I put on for them, either the name or something like that. But I made two of them back to back. And they turned out pretty much the same, but I layered the glitters in different ways to see if I could get different results. I used gold as well as pitch black inks, and my goal was to make it as dark as possible but make it as bright gold as possible. So you have to find that perfect medium, and it was more so of an experiment. You can even see here that this one right here was a failed tumbler from another project, and I actually went ahead and spray painted it gold because right now it does have fish net texture from a fishing tumbler. Look how much black I'm putting on this thing. So it's so much black, and then you can see the actual different types of gold micas that I had used, and I'm going to use those as the drizzle to go over top of them. So I have the golds and the gunmetal gray sitting there in the epoxy mix, and I'm going to go ahead and use those to drizzle it and to brighten it back up again. But as you can see, some of that glitter that I had on that project is really getting washed out. So the gunmetal gray inks did get applied. You can see them very streaking around. I used a little bit too much on this probably, but I thought it was a really cool effect. So there's the gunmetal drizzle going over it. Now that's a paint and a epoxy mix. And then I used a pure gold epoxy mix. And then I have an antique gold as well, which is slightly the same color, but a little bit darker, a little bit more towards bronze. So unless you really know the colors, you're probably not going to be able to pick them out individually. But it turned out absolutely spectacular. So now I'm going to hit it with a heat gun, and we're going to watch this bad boy move, but not move too much. You got to find that perfect medium. So if you're interested in this AU Gold Miners Cup, let me know. I can always create another one for any of my TikTok followers or for my YouTube followers here, as well as if you reach out to me on Etsy at John Byerly Art Studios. I have one up there, so if you're interested in one, I can ship it pretty quick. I want to make a new one, but just let me know. Applying a little bit more gold there just because I felt like it got washed out too much, and that way we can get some more gold on the upper layers of that epoxy layer. But it was so beautiful in so many different ways. Spectacular. There it is in its finished effect, and it took a layer or two to get that chunky glitter covered because it did come up a little bit to the surface. And we did get a little bit of additional movement, but it was really beautiful. And if you like gold and darker colors, then that was the cup for you. AU Gold Miners, really cool. Absolutely spectacular. So many different variations of colors. There's even a little bit of blue in there, where some of the mica is kind of separated. It was beautiful. This is a transition video from a stainless steel cup into a silver radioactive tumbler. It's a very fun one, and I've sold a lot of those. If you want one of those, let me know. All right, so this cup was absolutely phenomenal, and I still enjoy making it to this day. This is 100% customized Umbrella Corp breakaway tumbler. Now, I do offer zombie breakaway tumblers to this day on my Etsy shop, but a lot of them do not have the Umbrella Corp logo. I try to stay away from copyrights if I can, but I still like to make pop art type of things, and Resident Evil is just so much fun. So this one, it was actually one of my breakaway zombie cups. So it's a zombie breaking through the metal of the canister for whatever reason. You see two fingers, and then one is broken away. I actually made the extra finger and shipped it to him as well so he could put that on his trophy shelf. And that's where this ended up, I believe, if I recall what he said. He sent me an image of it, and it was on his Umbrella Corp Resident Evil trophy shelf with a bunch of other things, including like his like Umbrella Corp Hive ID and things like that. He also had some like vials of like the T virus and stuff like that. Turned out so cool, and it has like cast iron rivets around the top and the bottom, and it is just so much fun to put it together. So many stages, and just is fun. I believe that is on my YouTube channel. I believe. If not, then I may have to make another one. I believe it's one of my earlier videos. You can check that out. This right here is me actually hand sculpting in time-lapse form the scythe that the Grim Reaper gnome is holding. Now, I plan to, at some point in 2024, this year, create more gnome projects, and I'm working with an affiliate, Twisted Glitters. I'm hoping to create a gnome box. So if you wanted to create something like this, then you could potentially create it from a murder gnome box. That's a real kind of sneak peek of something that may be coming up, and I think it's maybe changing over time, but just be aware that that might be in the works. It turned out absolutely phenomenal, and the detail work is just so much fun, you guys. It was just a blast. I was really happy with how it turned out. I did have to bake that on a flat piece of parchment paper, and then only then could I attach it to the actual gnome for him to hold his accessory. Is very cool. Now, that gnome is still for sale on Etsy if you're interested in a Grim Reaper gnome. He's very intense. He is hard to put together, a lot of details. He does have a base that he sits on, and he is more so of a trophy piece. So if you're interested in something like that, not really a drinkable tumbler, but I think he has a top that's somewhere around here. But he is a for sale still. Now I just realized that maybe I didn't bake it separate. I just sculpted that into his hand. So I did not realize that I had done that. I guess I had created it and then sculpted it into his hand before I baked it. I had not realized that. Interesting. So I did a one bake on that as well. That's very interesting. I couldn't even remember that project. It's been so long ago. Here's me detail painting that. So much fun. Now, as you can see, I do base coat a lot of my items in Mars Black before I begin painting them. It just gives me a nice base to work up from. It also creates richer colors instead of having to force the colors to cover a bleached out white clay. So a lot of my projects will get a nice layer of Mars Black. And I'll tone that Mars Black in different colors if I need to, like grays and things like that. If I want to create specific shadows under, like an underpainting before I apply real colors and different hues to it. But it was very fun project to paint, a very fun project to put together. This is actually substantially a long video here towards the end of this coffee commentary. Again, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper, but it was a very long video to cap off this coffee commentary. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this coffee commentary. Make sure you check out some of my other ones. It's just kind of more so of a recap of some of my more short form content, and just me kind of talking about some of the projects and what they entailed and where they took me. And it's kind of like a little bit of a detail of my portrait mode artistic journey, as it were. Because landscape and portrait view or recording and art and content is a little bit different in a lot of ways. So obviously short form content is not going anywhere, but TikTok might be going somewhere. So it's very cool to be able to consolidate that information down. I'm hoping to have time to consolidate all of the TikTok information down into YouTube comment videos before it is gone, unless they sell it and things might be changing, but that's neither here nor there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As you can see, the nose is purple, and he does turn out substantially purple right there. Turned out absolutely incredible. Very fun, you guys. Very fun project, and I look forward to making a murder gnome here soon. So a lot of it's kind of like just bringing in purples. So as I start to fill out the color over the bleached out white, I'll start to introduce more and more purples, bringing them up into the colors that I would like. But I'm making sure that I leave a lot of that Mars Black recessed into a lot of those like little wrinkles in the cloak that I have created. So it was just very interesting, just slowly bringing up those colors to a purple. But I think purple was the way to go for that. Again, guys, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this voiceover coffee commentary. I will catch you guys on the next video of this playlist. Later, guys.